Hello, this is 10.2 Rhombi, Kites, and Trapezoids, and I promise I will make this video a little bit shorter than the last one. So let's go ahead and get started with it right away. So a rhombus, in Unit 9, we learned about exactly what a rhombus is. It has lots of interesting stuff going on. For this unit, the most important things, the things that we are going to care about the most, are that the sides of a rhombus are all congruent. So we need to remember that. I don't know how perfect my diagram is there. But then we also have two diagonals that form a right angle. We're going to call this one diagonal 1 and this one diagonal 2. So those are just little subscripts, D1 and D2. D stands for diagonal, and the 1 and 2 just show us, which one we're talking about. So I'm just going to write that D1 refers to diagonal 1. And it doesn't matter which way you label them. We could have had one going vertically or one going horizontally and two going vertically. It doesn't matter. All right, so what are the formulas for rhombuses? Okay, for area, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply your diagonals together and divide by 2. So D1 times D2 divided by 2. Or if you don't like doing it that way, you could do 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. Those two formulas are going to do the exact same thing. Dividing by 2, multiplying by 1/2, same thing. So you use whatever is the most comfortable for you. Okay? And then for perimeter, it's just going to be 4 times the side. 4 times S, and then we got to tell ourselves that S stands for side. Okay, in a rhombus, all the sides are the same. So once you get one of them, just multiply by 4. All right, kite. Kite is like the exact same thing. Kite's the exact same thing as a rhombus. As far as area goes, we're still going to have two diagonals. So I'm going to call it D1 and D2 this time. Okay. To find the area, same exact thing. D1 times D2 over 2. Or 1/2 D1 times D2. I'm just going to write the one formula this time. The only difference is for the perimeter, you can't just do 4 times the side because they're not all the same. We do know that those two sides are the same and those two sides are the same. I think the easiest thing to do is to just add all 4 sides. Or do 2 times a little side and 2 times the big side, but I think it's weird to write that down, so we'll just leave it for now. All right, and then last one is a trapezoid. Now on the bottom of the slide there, I'll just point that out right away because you can all see it. If they're ever asking you for the perimeter of a trapezoid, you're going to assume it's an isosceles trapezoid. So you're going to assume anytime it's asked for perimeter that those two sides are congruent to one another. Otherwise, it gets pretty ridiculous to find the perimeter. So you might come across some trapezoids that aren't isosceles, but you probably won't be asked to find the perimeter for those guys. All right. So with trapezoids, we have a base. I'm going to call it base 1 on the bottom and a base 2. Your bases are always parallel. So if you're ever confused on where your bases are, like maybe your trapezoid is turned on its side, find the two sides that are parallel. Those are your bases. Call one of them base 1 and one of them base 2. B1 is base 1. B2 is base 2. And then we're going to need a height, and a height is going to be kind of similar to how it has been like in a parallelogram, where we need to drop a line that's perpendicular to your bases. So H is our height. And then it's important that your height is perpendicular to your bases. Like so. All right. So when it comes to area, we actually have a couple different ways to do it. If you're given the median, so I'm going to draw in a median or midline. I'm just going to call it M. M is median or midline. Different people call it different things, so we'll make sure that we know both of them. So what we can do is we can either, for area, we can either do base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. Or if we know what the median is, or it's easy to find, then all we have to do is median times height. Okay, so this part right here is the same as the median. If you're finding the median, you're finding the average of your bases. You're adding base 1 plus base 2 and dividing by 2. But if you already have the median, I wouldn't go to all of that extra work. I would just do median times height. All right, and then for perimeter, kind of what we have been doing, perimeter is just add all your sides. All right, so let's have enough of that and just get into some examples. So first one, I know it's kind of little, but it's a trapezoid. You can see its isosceles because we have a 17 and a 17 on each side. We're given our height, which is awesome. So we can just go ahead and solve this one. Now, I personally like to just find the median first. That's how I usually do it. So I like to figure out where is this middle line. So I will just add together the bases. I'll just do 13 plus 29 and find the average of it, cut it in half. So 13 and 29, let's see, 9 and 3 is 12, carry the 1, 2 and 2 is 42, divided by 2 is 21. So 21 is halfway between 13 and 29. And we can kind of double check that. Looks like from 13 to 21 would be 8 units. From 21 to 29 is another 8 units. So we're good to go there. We got the median. At that point, we just need to remember that area is median times height. We have those things. I'm just going to label the 15 as our height and the 21 as our median right in the diagram. So all we have to do is do 21 times 15, and 21 times 15 is, where do I have that one? 315 square units, because it's area, we have to remember to use square units. We weren't given any units, so we'll just use the little u. And then perimeter isn't so bad right now. We have two 17s that need to be added, so I'm just going to do 2 times 17, plus we have a 29 and a 13. And when you add all of that together, you get 76 units. And that one is done. All right, and then we're over here with a kite. So just a reminder, when you're finding the area of a kite, you need to find your diagonals, multiply them together, and divide by 2. Okay, so one of our diagonals is right here, which is 3 plus 3. So diagonal 1 is 3 plus 3, which is 6. And diagonal 2 is this whole distance, which is 9 plus 4, which is 13. Okay, so to get the area here, we're just going to multiply our two diagonals. So 6 times 13. And these are in meters, so we'll add that back in at the end. 6 times 13, divide it in half. 6 times 13 is 78. And 78 divided by 2 is 39. And we have to remember, again, that it's meters, and we're talking area, so meters squared. Okay, so area on that one's the easy part. The harder part, and it's maybe not hard isn't the right word, but the longer part here is when we're doing perimeter, we are not given any of our sides. Okay, we don't know what any of these outsides are. We do know that we have some right triangles. So we do have some right triangle right triangle Pythagorean theorem to do here. I will say though that the first one, this guy out here, I'm just going to call that X. That's one that we can maybe just memorize or maybe just know from now. If you have a leg that's 3, another leg that's 4, your hypotenuse is going to be 5. So it's a 3, 4, 5. Pythagorean triple is what that's called. So if you recognize that, don't go through the whole hassle of doing the Pythagorean theorem. These sides are each going to be 5. Okay, the one that I don't know for sure is this longer one that's 3 and 9. I don't know exactly what this side, I'll make it blue, is going to be. So that's where I would just do a quick 3 squared plus 9 squared equals, I'm going to call it y. y squared. And I'm just going to go through that quickly. So 9 plus 81 is y squared. 90 is y squared. Take the square root of 90, and you're going to get approximately 9.5. So we're going to have a 9.5 here, and then another 9.5 there because these sides are congruent. So I get it. These can be a lot of work, but I think we can handle it at this point in the year. So perimeter is going to be 2 5s plus 2 9.5s, which ends up being approximately 29 meters. All right, that one is done. Go ahead and work on 10.2 practice.